Good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Forecast. We start with a live look at downtown Buffalo. You're seeing just a gorgeous day out there. We have all of that sunshine. Temperatures are pretty comfortable, getting into those upper 60s, even nearing 70 degrees. So technically below average for this time of year because it is officially the first day of June, the first day of meteorological summer. So those temperatures averages are getting pretty high up there. Patrick is applauding. I mean, he looks pretty comfortable out there. What's it like near you in Hamburg, Patrick?
Hey, it's great. And Lauren, one of the things that you and I, last time we were together, we were talking about humidity and dew point, or maybe it was 2 times ago. Anyway, there's none of that. That's the beauty of this. It's getting nice and warm. We're into the summer season, right? But sometimes with the summer season, the heat comes with a lot of mugginess and humidity, air you can wear, we like to say. That is not the case right now, as you know. Humidity levels are so nice and low. It's comfortable and just about perfect, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just out on the roof for the 11. It was really nice, especially with that sunshine on your back. A bit of that northeasterly breeze, so a little bit of a cooling factor from that,
Yeah.
but just really, really gorgeous outside. But I know you're going to talk more about that, Patrick.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to talk a lot about what we just went through in May and the outlook for the new month ahead. You bring up a good point. When the wind direction, so as I'm oriented, if it's coming from that way, which is the north or northeast, that is a sign that it's not going to get too terribly hot. That's a cooler weather direction for us. Also, a direction where drier air comes in from Canada or the Atlantic even, and we don't have to deal with the mugginess that a southerly wind will soon bring the humidity back, but no time soon. It looks like it's going to be a nice, warm, and somewhat dry weather pattern, although there's a sign it could get a little on the more humid side maybe at the end of the week. But until then, it's just about perfect. So let's take a look and talk about the forecast. Looking ahead, starting with today, first of all, the temperatures are so comfortable, mid to upper 60s. Lauren was talking about how that kind of temperature just feels great. In the shade, it's even nice. I think yesterday we were 67. The sun was out, but a cloud moves overhead or the shade kicks in and it's a little bit of a chill. Not the case today. It's nice and pleasantly mild with temperatures area-wide in the 60s. Tomorrow morning, by the way, we'll start off the day like we did today in the 40s and 50s. So we've had some nice cool mornings. That's what dry air also does. It allows the temperature to drop at night. You know those muggy mornings when you wake up and you get out of bed and it's already like 75, 80 degrees at 6 a.m.? Yeah, it's because it's humid. That's a part of it. Not the case when the air is dry. All right, so the forecast looks like this. Bright sunshine today with a high near 70. As we look towards tomorrow, bright blue skies again, temperatures in the mid 70s. And looking ahead, for the rest of this week, dry and warm. Let's call it warm. We'll go low 70s today, or low 70 today, mid 70s tomorrow. Then beyond that, it warms up a bit more. But it will be dry. That has been the theme. It hasn't rained here now in over a week, and we don't expect any until possibly, let's say, day 6, day 7, which is this weekend. More on that coming up. All right. So for today, 70 sunshine. Tonight, down to 50 with a waning moon. We had the full moon, of course, yesterday, and a temperature tomorrow 75. Wait, waning and waxing. So waning is when it's going from full to new. That's right. Okay. Waxing is when it's coming from new to full. Okay. Got to get the terminology right. All right. Satellite view shows a lack of rain, a lack of clouds. In fact, I think there's one little cloud over western New York, and it's right above me. It's a tiny little cumulus. That's it. We are cloud-free pretty much region-wide, and it's going to stay that way tonight into tomorrow. If you put this in motion, you can see there's no, no weather systems coming our way. And as we pull out, the weather pattern's kind of blocked. The jet stream is making these big undulations that is allowing a big kind of dip in the jet stream along the west coast and then over the east coast. In the center, the ridge, the jet stream buckles way up into Canada. That's where all the warm air is. We're on the right side of that flow, that jet stream pattern that's kind of blocked up. And that's a very comfortable and dry side. So as long as we're in this weather pattern and blocks, as we like to call these, don't move very much or don't allow weather systems to move, we're not going to see much day-to-day change, but the temperatures will stay comfortable. Notice, you can see we've got the blue across the west, the blue in the east, the yellow and the orange in the middle. That's where the hot air is. We're on that cool side of that jet stream pattern, which is going to be in place all week, budging a little bit as we head into the weekend. Okay, because of the little day-to-day change in the overall weather pattern, temperatures are stable. They warm up slowly, and we stay dry. In fact, you can see this is our rainfall chance over the next 7 days. And one thing, well, two things probably stand out. There's no rain for at least the next 5 days, but day 6 and day 7, that's Saturday and Sunday, that's when rain chances do begin to elevate a bit. And by then, we will have had a 2-week stretch of dry weather. And that's a pretty long stretch around here, also for this time of the year. So we're kind of due. Unfortunately, it's coming this weekend. More on that coming up. So for today, sunshine, a light northeasterly breeze, temperatures from the upper 60s to around 70. We'll go 70 to 71 in Buffalo, probably 70. East Aurora 69. Bradford, you were 37 this morning in Bradford. Today will be 69 on this June 1st. And then as we go to tonight, skies are clear. Temperatures will cool nicely into the 40s to around 50 degrees. I love that. I love waking up with a little bit of coolness to the air. When it's warm in the morning, you just know, oh man, it's gonna be a hot day, right? And this is a very comfortable weather that we're gonna be seeing. 50 in Lockport, it's a pretty common number. 46 in Olean, 50 in East Aurora. And tomorrow looks like a carbon copy of today, but we will add, I would say, 4 to 5 degrees, so we should be in the mid-70s. Still a light breeze. Lake Erie slowly warming. We're at 57 degrees currently, the lake, and it looks like it's going to be a nice day tomorrow and out over the water as well. Okay, in terms of rainfall, this is a look at the expected rain for the next 5 to 6 days. And as we animate this, you will see colors of green are where rain's expected. And that's across the center part of the country, up into Canada, down across the southeast. But notice the dryness, substantial dryness over the Ohio Valley into the Great Lakes. And that includes right here in Western New York. Pretty notable how the one dry spot in the country, probably the far west coast, but then also here. And that's why the dry forecast looks to sustain, again, because of that weather pattern that is blocked. Nothing's really moving from west to east at all. So it is going to stay dry. And also on the warmer side of things, as we look ahead, this is the 6 to 10 day forecast. We like to show this to kind of give you the trend. And the darker the orange doesn't necessarily mean the hotter it's going to be, but it's the greater the chance that temperatures will be above normal. Right now, above normal, a normal 71, 72. So anything above that will be colored in red, and the greater chance of that will be the darker red, and we're kind of in that zone. So pretty confident that it's going to stay on the mild, warm side, but not necessarily too terribly hot. We don't see any hot weather coming. Maybe by mid-month we could get into that, but until then, I think it's going to stay comfortably warm, but not too hot, but certainly not cool. All right, now, as for the weekend, we've got the Pride Parade on Sunday. We have Greek Festival. We have there's an event at the Albright and Knox Museum. What is it? Darn it. I'll think of it. Anyway, there's an event going on there this weekend. And Rocking Out the Knox, I think, something like that. The weather looks a little unsettled, okay? This is kind of a simulation of what we think could happen. On Saturday, it appears that a weak cold front's gonna drop down from Canada that may trigger a couple of showers. I think of greater concern is that an area of low pressure may form along that front on Sunday. And that could spell maybe some rainier times on Sunday and maybe some thunder showers too. Of course, we have the Pride Parade on Sunday, and I know 2 years ago it was rainy at the very end. Last year it was chilly. I believe it was sunny though, but it was cool. This year it looks to be potentially, well, I don't want to call it wet. I just want to say that there's a chance of the weather getting a little unsettled on Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday. So for today, sunshine, temperature of around 70 tonight. Clear skies, mid 40s to around 50. And then for tomorrow, sunny again with temperatures in the mid 70s. Here's that 7-day forecast. Yeah, this is like what it's doing weather in Tucson. Sunshine, day 1, day 2, day 3, but not nearly as hot as the Southwest, of course. Very quiet weather, 70s turned to upper 70s. In fact, I know, you think, okay, why not? 3 days of 78, that's just how it looks. Maybe one of those days, maybe Friday we get to 80. I guess that there's a chance. Maybe a few extra clouds on Friday, and then there you can see the showers on Saturday and Sunday. Lauren, I think you would agree. It's a little too early to lock in the weekend forecast. It's in terms of timing of rain, duration of rain, how much rain. It just, and you talked about this last night. I was watching you at 6. There's a chance, the first chance in quite a while, of it getting a little wet Saturday, especially Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely really far out, so too much time to really hone in on those specific details, but at least for right now, it is sunshine, it is dry, get out there and enjoy it. It is the first day of meteorological summer, so I'm gonna, when we come back, break down what meteorological summer tends to look like for us and wrap up what has been a pretty interesting meteorological spring.
All right, welcome back everyone, live here in Hamburg on a very sunny first day of meteorological summer here, June 1st. I know there's a way to look at the summer via the solstice or just the calendar. Those of us in the weather community, we like to look at the calendar because it it coincides with the warmest times of the year versus the coldest times of the year, and that's kind of how we set our season. So in terms of how things panned out for spring and how things may look towards June, the start of summer, Lauren, what say you? What are you seeing?
All right, well, Patrick, first let's just take a look back at what temperatures were like for May. Immediately your eye goes to 21 days below average, 9 days above average, and so much of that below average feel happened for the first half of the month, where those average temperatures tend to be on the cooler side anyway. So we spent so many days in the 50s, maybe a few 60s, even a few 40s mixed into there. We did have those couple days where we dipped into the 80s, had that brief taste of summer before things kind of meandered and got closer to average as we headed toward the end of the month. So it should not come as too much of a shock that when we are looking at the average of the highs for the month of May, yeah, we were a little bit below average, just shy of 64 degrees for the average of the high temperatures for the month, whereas the average should be around 67.5. And then if you want to look at just the average temperature in general, which is an average of the highs and the lows, again, we were below average, just around 55 degrees, where typically that should be around 58. So it was a below average May, but that is coming after what was actually an above average March and April. Just looking at those average temperatures though, God, 38 degrees was above average for March. That just sounds so cold right now looking at the temperatures that we've had. But yeah, March and April were above average. April, I think, was the 6th warmest April on record. So coming off of that, then for a May that was below average, definitely not what you want, but those temperatures are getting better. And now as we look ahead to summer, what those average temperatures are for the summer, yeah, looking a lot better. June, just shy of 67 degrees for the average temperature every day for the month, 71 in July, and then just around 70 degrees for August. So things are looking a lot better. Then of course there is the precipitation. Believe it or not, with how dry we've been, we actually still went above average for precipitation this May. And that's because, again, the beginning of the month, when we were cooler, we were also a lot wetter. So we were about an inch above what is average for the month of May with respect to precipitation. But recently, yeah, it has been over a week since we've recorded anything measurable in Buffalo. But with that pretty wet May in combination with a record-setting March as well as a record-setting April was pretty wet as well. We were within the top 10. Yeah, so March, we were the wettest on record. April, we were within the top 10. I believe we were 8th. So a wet March, a wet April, an above average May. I think we ended around the 16 wettest, so nothing too drastic, but that does leave us as the 3rd wettest spring on record with over 16 inches of rain here in Buffalo. So a very wet season. Typically, spring is actually one of our drier seasons. It's like our 2nd driest season, I believe. Yeah, winter is our driest, then spring. So summer is relatively comparable to spring, but it does tend to average a little bit more with respect to precipitation. Now, I don't know that we're going to see another 16-inch rain season, so we're probably going to see less rain this summer. But you never know, it could surprise us and it could be a very wet summer. What's also happening with summer, specifically with the month of June, we get that summer solstice. So that is when the sun is going to be at its highest angle. So on June 1st, that is today, the sun angle is around 69 degrees in the sky. By the time we get to the solstice, it will be around 71. It's just shy. I think it's 70.6 if you want to get technical. And then by the time we end the month, yeah, it's going to start tipping back just a little bit, but pretty negligible. You see that pink. The sun is pretty much at its highest point this entire month. We end the month with a sun angle of 70.3. So with that higher sun angle, the day when it is highest is going to be on the solstice. This year it is June 21st, the specific time of the solstice when the sun crosses over that Tropic of Cancer is at 4:24 a.m. This is the longest day of the year where we are going to have 15 hours and 21 minutes of sunshine. After that, we do start to lose time every single day, but those temperatures are going to continue to go up for the entirety of the month and heading into summer. I can show you summer in a moment, but with respect to June, today, average temperatures in the low 70s, and then by the time we get to the end of the month, we are just almost pushing 80 degrees. Average temperatures for the 30th, 79 degrees, and that is the same with the low temperatures as well. Remember when we were just looking at those average temperatures for March in the 30s? Our low temperatures by the end of June, 62 degrees, so that sounds really nice. I mean, today we're in the upper 60s right now, so that's what our low temperatures are going to be by the end of the month. Taking a look at some of those records for June, so the coldest June on record was in 1980, where the average temperature was just shy of 62. The warmest was in 1967, where the average temperature was 72.5. The driest was 1955, where you got just over 1/10 of an inch, and the wettest was in 1987, where we got over 8 inches of rain. And then the coldest temperature we have recorded in a June was in 1945 with 35 degrees, and the warmest was in 1988 at 96. So again, with the summer season starting meteorologically, we obviously started on the 1st. Astronomically, we start it when we have the solstice on the 21st. So those temperatures are climbing up, and we will reach average temperatures getting into those 80s. But just because average temperatures are in the 80s does not mean that we can't see 90 degrees. In fact, the average first day that we will see 90 degrees is around June 25th. So typically we do see that in June. The earliest we've ever recorded 90 plus degrees has been April 28th. That was back in 1990. The latest we've ever seen it, if we record 90 at all in the year, was September 24th, back in 2017. And last year we saw our first 90 on July 6th. Now looking at the 90-degree days, the most 90-degree days we've ever seen was back in 1955, which, if you remember, that was also our driest June. That was 20 days where we hit 90 degrees. Again, this is over the course of the year, not just for the month of June. That would be a pretty intense month. The fewest we've ever seen has been 0. I put the year 2014. That is the most recently we've seen 0, but there have been about 20 years within our record-keeping history where we never hit 90 degrees. And on average, we typically see just over 4 days. So if you want to round that, about 4 days where we do see 90 degrees. Again, over the course of the year, not just for the month of June, but I'm talking about June because that is typically when we see that first 90. And again, just to keep in mind with respect to how we have been trending climatologically, every single season is warming. Summer and spring for Buffalo specifically aren't warming quite as quickly as autumn and certainly not winter, but each season is warming. So that's why it's been so long since we've gone a year without seeing 90 degrees, because those above average days where we do push those 90s are more common. Also worth noting, with those warmer temperatures, June officially starts the peak of what is our severe weather season. So taking a look at kind of when we average see the most tornadoes, April through September is when we on average will see those tornadoes, but you do notice that June, specifically July, is when that will be peaking, and then August can also see a bit. We've already recorded a few this year, but none so far for June. So that's also just something we're going to want to keep our eye on, especially with those warmer temperatures. Obviously right now, currently, we have a dry stretch, so no concerns with respect to that, but that is something that we are going to be looking at over the coming weeks and certainly months. With those warmer temperatures and the atmosphere holding more moisture, you get more instability and more severe weather.
I love, yes, our thunderstorm season, which kind of got off to an early start, has kind of had a lull lately, but it'll come back. And we will come right back with a look at the other fading thoughts we have from the weather office. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. It is June 1st, the first day of meteorological summer, but also June 1st is the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Of course, we have hurricanes in the Pacific. The season in the Western Pacific starts a little sooner, but for the Atlantic, even though you don't tend to get as many storms in June, it officially begins today, right, Lauren?
That is true, Patrick. Yeah, the Atlantic hurricane season officially kicks off on June 1st. So you see where we've marked today on this map, but you also know, so these red areas, that indicates the frequency of tropical storms. The yellow indicates that frequency of hurricanes. And you notice it really doesn't peak until September. It really doesn't pick up until we start getting into the month of August. So we still have time before there's a lot that we're tracking, but June marks the start of hurricane season. They are forecasting a below average hurricane season, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about that forecast and what we might be expecting out of hurricane season this year specifically on Wednesday when we come back with Beyond the Forecast later this week with me and Patrick.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait. We'll see you Wednesday.